Today, we're taking a trip back to the Middle Ages to uncover some of the weirdest and wackiest things that went down back then. Let's jump right in. Fact number 1. Animal trials. Did you know that in the Middle Ages, it wasn't just humans getting caught up in court drama? Even animals like rats and insects could be dragged into court. Yeah, you heard that right. Medieval courts had these official trials for bug and rodent problems. Just imagine a rat defending itself in court. In those days, animals could be accused of some pretty wild stuff, like murder. And the go-to punishment for these critters, like pigs, was hanging. They set up these towering gallows outside of town, showing off their judicial power. People passing by must have been like, wait, are those animals on trial for real? Fact number 2. Potions and witchcraft. Now, let's chat about something truly magical, potions and witchcraft.
My potions are too strong for you, traveler.
Back then, folks believed that these mystical concoctions could cure diseases and keep bad luck at bay. Alchemists and sorcerers were all the rage. And these sorcerers cooked up some really weird stuff. Like using salamander eyes and toad legs in their potions. Who in their right mind would even think about chugging that to cure a simple cold? Fact number 3. Fear of witches. Witches were everyone's worst nightmare in the Middle Ages. People were so freaked out that sometimes, if a woman had a black cat, they'd instantly call her a witch. The fear of witches led to these crazy witch hunts and harsh trials. And can you imagine how a black cat felt about being linked to witchcraft? It was such a big deal that just having a black cat could get you accused of being a witch. That connection between witches and black cats really got stuck in everyone's heads. Both men and women could be accused of being witches, casting them as social outcasts and wrongly blaming them for calamities. Some, accused unfairly as healers, faced a dark legacy as their knowledge of folk medicine was misconstrued as dark magic. This impact resonates in European culture through literature, art, and folklore, serving as a haunting reminder of the dangers of superstition. Fact number 4. Rare baths. Back in the day, taking a bath wasn't a regular thing. Many folks only hopped in the tub a few times a year. They thought water could make them sick, so they tried to stay away from baths like they were the plague.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Perfumes weren't just a fancy accessory, they were practically a lifeline. In medieval times, perfumes were a luxury crafted by skilled artisans, limiting their availability to the upper classes. Unlike today, production was not widespread, and these fragrances held both status and exclusivity, symbolizing wealth in a manner distinct from the accessibility we experience with perfumes in modern times. Fact number 5. Impractical armors. Knights were out and about wearing these super heavy suits of armor that made them move like turtles. Sure, armor might look cool, but try running or getting on a horse in one of those. Those suits were like wearing a fridge, and knights often needed a whole crew to help them put it on or get them back on their feet. Nothing like a shiny suit of armor to turn a gentleman into a clumsy knight. A less known and intriguing aspect about medieval knights is that their armor was not just for protection but also served as a symbol of status. Knights often adorned their armor with elaborate designs and engravings, not only for aesthetic purposes but also to showcase their identity and heraldic symbols. This personalized touch transformed armor into a unique and individualized form of self-expression for knights, beyond its utilitarian function in battle. Fact number 6. Belief in sea monsters. Medieval sailors believed in some crazy sea monsters, like the Kraken and the Leviathan.
Release the Kraken!
These tales of giant, otherworldly sea creatures cruising the ocean depths might sound like something out of a sci-fi movie. But back then, it was a legit source of fear for sailors. You're probably wondering where these wild stories came from. Some folks think they might have seen real massive sea creatures, like giant squids, which can grow to insane sizes and were rarely seen. In a time when the seas were full of mysteries, these sea monster stories added a touch of wow to the hard life of sailors. Fact number 7. Misguided medicine. Medicine back then was a bit bizarre. One thing they did was bloodletting, which means taking some blood out of a patient, thinking it'd cure them.
Oh, no.
Spoiler alert, bloodletting didn't work in the Middle Ages mainly because folks had a shaky grasp on human anatomy, misunderstood symptoms, hygiene was a bit sketchy, and they clung to the practice even when it did more harm than good. But wait, there's more! In the medieval mix, they weren't just fans of knives and cups for bloodletting. Also using leeches were on top of the medical scene. Yep, those slimy suckers were thought to be cure-alls. Eventually, though, as we got a grip on science, bloodletting got the boot, and we traded leeches for treatments that actually make sense. Fact number 8. Odd fashion choices. Fashion in the Middle Ages had its own unique twists. Guys rocked these pointy shoes that stretched way past their toes. These shoes, called polanes, were the height of fashion and a status symbol.
What are those?
Some shoes had points that were so long, it was like they were trying to touch the moon. Peasants in the Middle Ages showcased their unique fashion flair by embracing earthy tones and simple fabrics. Their clothing choices were a medieval version of farm-to-fashion, seamlessly blending practicality with style. In a world where luxury often defined nobility, peasants found beauty in simplicity, turning their everyday attire into a statement of resilience and down-to-earth elegance. The rustic charm of their garments spoke volumes about a lifestyle rooted in the practical demands of rural living, demonstrating that even in the humblest attire, there was a distinct and admirable fashion sense. Fact number 9. Medieval food adventures. The food scene in the Middle Ages was all about getting creative. They'd toss fruits like figs and dates into their savory dishes. Mixing sweet and savory in one plate was their thing. And sometimes, they'd throw together ingredients that didn't seem to belong in the same dish, like meat and fruit. It was a wild world of cooking. Back in the day, eating was a hands-on gig, no fancy forks, just knives and lots of fingers on the food. And dinners? Oh, they were next level. It wasn't just about stuffing your face, it was like a whole show. Minstrels played tunes, jesters cracked jokes, and sometimes they threw in live animals for that extra wild vibe. Feasts weren't just meals, they were like dinner parties with laughter, music, and unexpected fun. Fact number 10. Castle garderobes. Medieval toilets. Medieval castles had an interesting take on bathrooms. They had these garderobes, which were basically small rooms or closets in the castle walls where you do your business. The waste would just drop down into a pit or a moat below, which was a pretty interesting way to recycle. But let's be real, these weren't the coziest places to do your business. The smell was probably hard to handle, especially for folks living nearby. Still, it was a clever solution for a basic need. So, there you have it, a bunch of the craziest things that went down during the Middle Ages. No doubt, that era was like a carnival of quirks and oddities. Subscribe to my new channel, videos every week.